The DRC is very famous for conflict, but one side effect of this conflict is displacement. When Baba Atongo arrived in Bukavu, it was difficult for him to find a living, and it was through his neighbor that he found a place at the market to carry goods, for example. And for him it was really a relief because he could bring something at home at night. My name is Gloria Nguya. I am from DRC, from Kinshasa, and I did my PhD research in Eastern DRC, in Goma and Bukavu. I am a PhD student candidate in Wageningen University to Humanitarian Aid and Reconstruction Department. I am part of large research called the Secure Livelihood Research Consortium based in UK, and my part of the research was to investigate how IDPs make a living in Eastern DRC. As a researcher coming from Kinshasa, it was really difficult for me to find IDPs. First, because I don't speak the language Swahili, so I had to learn. And second, it's not like you can go somewhere in Bukavu and find IDPs like it's mentioned in your head. No, this is very another aspect of this research. I had to be in touch with, for example, churches, members, or for example, NGOs, and from them it was possible to find some IDPs, and from those IDPs I could find other IDPs at the end. So I tried to build a network around people around the church, for example, or just people at the market I know somehow, and from them I just go and visiting them, hanging out with them, and sometimes traveling with them to their village just to understand what is it being an IDPs in Bukavu. The research in general took 18 months. In Southern Kivu, I took almost 12 months to follow IDPs, and from the perspective of the research, it was more or less 120 IDPs. I could hang out with women, for example, at the market, and for them it was around 39 IDPs, women, at the market, not just one place, but from different markets in Bukavu. What we call internally displaced person are very important part of this conflict because it's very difficult for people to understand and to help them, and particularly in South Kivu, where assistance is just focused on IDPs, which are very difficult to track. And from IDPs arrive, for example, in a city like Bukavu, healthcare, education, livelihoods, and also finding a place is very tough. We often think that families or friendship are very important. We would like to highlight other aspects of IDPs and how being IDPs can be also very different from the view of families and relatives, for example. From the perspective of many researchers on IDPs and on internally displaced persons, they often focus on family ties and community ties as an important aspect to help IDPs when they arrive in cities, for example, like Bukavu. But from my research, it was the other way around. When they arrive in Bukavu, new friends, in the neighborhood are really important for them, because through them it was possible to make, for example, a living. Corruption, bribing is really phenomenal in Congo. And for IDPs women, we can think it's also the case that they have to pay for a place, for example, in the market. But from my research, it was not the case. Those IDPs women could actually get a place in the market, sometimes without bribing, without paying for something. So it was we called arrangement. They have just to get an arrangement with the owner of the place, and they get somewhere they can sit and sell, for example, their avocado. This was the case of Mama Mugoli. When she arrived in Bukavu, one of her friends brought her at Beach Mwanzi market, which is a very big market in Bukavu. She started selling sugarcane, which was very difficult for him. Then she shifted selling avocados, and now she's much better and enjoying. Even though people can think from outside that she's struggling, but for her, she's making a living and finding a place in the market. In Congo, besides internally displaced person, we have also a lot of issue related to state. The fact that state is very fragile, and we think that this fragility has an impact on how people, for example, approach institutions like official. By the case of some IDPs, it was possible. For some of them, when they arrive in Bukavu, they could actually get assistance through what we call chef of the quartier in French, but official chief of a neighborhood, get an assistance. The case of Mama Janine, she arrived from Ninja, but she arrived through Panzi, a neighborhood in Bukavu, a poor neighborhood. And for her it was difficult because she didn't have a relative. And when she arrived, people directed her through an official of the neighborhood of Panzi, and he was helpful. He not only find a place for the woman, first of all, he hosted the woman for several days at his place, then later helped her to find a place. And it's important to mention that fragile state is not just people are afraid, for example, don't trust official. In that case, some IDPs really trust official, and sometimes they were really helpful, without mentioning the aspect of how official was it, but those IDPs were really helping, and it was important to mention it as well. IDPs in Eastern DRC are very and strongly person who have initiative, and this is really remarkable from a researcher and also from other view, because they can take care of themselves. But at the same time, they are also very vulnerable, and it's important for us, when we try to assist them, to start from their own initiative without threatening their neighborhood, for example, or threatening the other aspect of their life. In some neighborhood, some IDPs are called witchcraft, and it's important for us to understand why they are called that way. In Cheriri, a neighborhood in Bukavu, it's very problematic, and we could influence somehow the neighborhood to understand those newcomers, not just as people who just want to take the livelihoods or to take the plot of land, but also people who just need to stay there because they are fleeing conflict. And this is because of lack of information, and it's important to assist them in that way as well.